So, hello, Amanda, and welcome to Sporty and Spice. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So we were just really excited to have a very powerful woman in the sports industry join our show. So again, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Anytime.
So, I guess we wanted to start off with how you ended up at ESPN and what was your journey really like to get there?
So it really wasn't that long of a journey, to be honest, because I got to ESPN as an intern. So I interned there in 2004, and then I have never left. So it's been 14 years working at ESPN in various different jobs and capacities. But my path prior to the internship at ESPN was a lot of other internships every summer and working, in school, all the different various clubs and activities that were available to me. So before I got to ESPN, I had a lot of experience in local radio, and TV and those sort of internships that helped prepare me to become an intern at ESPN and then turn that internship into a full-time job.
So obviously our podcast, we talked to you about this, is for women. Did you face any challenges, do you think, as a woman entering the sports world? And how would you squash any misconception to any woman that's trying to enter the sports industry?
Yeah, so I mean, now it's 2018, and hopefully it's a little easier for women these days than it was, 20, 25, 30 years ago to get in the industry. Me personally, I cannot say that I have faced any sort of discrimination for being a woman, which I think is very a positive thing.
Definitely.
However, I'm one of these type of people that I don't really delineate male, female, based on job. I delineate someone if they get it or if they don't get it, basically. So if you're good at your job, if you're passionate, if you're determined, if you're confident in what you're doing, if you're offering ideas, if you work really hard, to me, it really doesn't matter, if you're male or female. It really matters if you have aptitude for the job that you're supposed to do. So I've always prided myself on, I'm going to show them, but not I'm going to show them because I'm a female way. I'm going to show them because I want people to know that I am passionate and I'm good at my job and I want more responsibility. So I have never faced any, discrimination because I'm a female. I know plenty of people who have, and I wouldn't say that it's necessarily fixed clearly in 2018, especially with the advent of social media. But me personally, I've never faced any discrimination or you can't do this because you're a female in sports.
Right. Well, that's great. It's a great experience to have.
Yes.
And obviously that reflects when you're in your hiring process also. I mean, what do you look for when you're hiring somebody?
Well, it's obviously dependent on the job, but the first thing that I look for when I hire people is experience. Who from the candidate pool has the type of experience we're looking for that would fulfill the obligations of the specific position we're looking for. Along with experiences, who's passionate about the position, who really approaches this as a career and not as a job, or as a career and not as a stepping stone to the next job. So experience is really key. Passion is really key. Just a general willingness to drop everything and do whatever it takes to get a job done. Most jobs these days aren't 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, especially in sports media. That's not the norm here. So are you going to care if you're working every single Christmas on the NBA? Are you going to care if you're working every single Easter on Major League Baseball? Are you going to care if you walk out of work when it's 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or even 6 a.m. as the sun is rising? Or if you have to work overnight to support a morning show? It takes a special type of person, I think, to really be passionate about the industry, because it's not a 9 to 5. It's not a typical accountant, go to work and come home and have your weekends off. You really got to love it. And looking for someone with those type of qualities is really important when you're hiring, and especially in this industry.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Definitely something, obviously we're both very passionate about it, but something I've been learning this past year in my first job.
Yes, it's not easy for sure.
That's interesting and definitely something to think of. So in terms of the digital age, how do you see ESPN evolving with social media and with everything turning to mobile and online streaming?
Well, I think you've seen a lot of steps in the past 6 months to a year to make sure that we're in the space where the millennials, they say, are in the space, or the folks who are deciding, I don't want to pay that much for a cable subscription. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't want anybody to cut their cable, right? We want people to keep their cable subscriptions, but the reality is that a lot of people are not, they're letting their cable go. So you've seen a few things from ESPN, like our new OTT platform, ESPN Plus, where it's a direct-to-consumer product, and it's a certain, subscription fee per month, and there's games, there's content, there's 30 for 30 series. There's a lot of different ways that we can reach the consumer who might not necessarily want to pay for a cable package. So that's one way that their ESPN is evolving in the digital age. I think another way is you're going to see a lot more shows on social. Like right now we have a bunch of shows on Twitter. I think there's probably a show going on right now on Twitter for the NBA draft. There was a show for every NBA playoffs prior to the NBA finals games on Twitter. We have Facebook segments with First Take, First Take, Your Take. So many different ways our social media platforms are trying to reach people. One of the things that I've been pretty intimately involved in since the creation has also been our SportsCenter Snapchat show, which we launched in November. And myself and a couple other members of my talent office team were really integral into finding the talent for that sort of platform. So little things like that to make sure that we're not just relying on Old Faithful, and we're making sure that we're pushing our content out to wherever people are. I mean, the new app that was launched this spring is also another way that, we're evolving content. So, ESPN isn't perfect, but definitely trying to be as forward thinking and progressive as possible to make sure that we're capitalizing on everywhere that people are, not just on cable.
I think the social media television shows are so interesting. It's like even like the live Twitter streams now. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun, right? Because people get to flex different sort of muscles. It's definitely a different platform. It's not, looking to a prompter and me to highlight or have ask an analyst a question and then, second question, tee them up. It's not very formulaic. It's like, hey, this is cool. Let's hang out. Let's have some fun. Have people watch along with you. And it certainly is a different experience both for the user and for the talent.
Yeah, it's
for sure. I think it's much easier to show your personality as well.
Yeah,
in that kind of setting.
Definitely,
for sure.
Very cool.
So, what do you think the biggest risk that you've taken in your career is?
Well, I've been fortunate where I have put myself in a position where I didn't need to take a huge risk. I would say the thing that comes to mind quickest to me is 2 years ago when I was offered the opportunity to move over to the company's talent office. So, little backstory, I spent 12 years in our radio network. I started as, like I said, an intern and PA to AP to producer. I produced Colin Cowherd's show for 5 years. And then I got into management, nights and weekends, and management kept moving up. And my last job in radio, I was in charge of all of our daytime programming. So that was 6A to 7P, shows like Mike and Mike and The Herd and Dan Lebitard and Scott Van Pelt, and a lot of high-profile shows and high-profile talent that I worked with. And I love my job. I was in charge of operations for the entire radio network. It was awesome. Loved it. And, I had some opportunities to join other parts of the company. Had some conversations with some folks in SportsCenter, and then an opportunity came up for the talent office. And the head of the talent office had always said, like, hey, we should work together someday. Like, yeah, that's fun. That'd be great, whatever. And then he called me and he's like, no, are you interested? Like, I'm serious. I think there's going to be an opportunity. I'm like, wow. Okay. So I had to weigh, in radio, I was kind of top of the totem pole, right? I mean, everybody has a boss, but I had given a lot of autonomy to do whatever I wanted. I had a team of like 25 people. I loved everybody I worked with. It was so much fun. And I had to decide if moving over to the talent office, where my primary responsibilities would be to negotiate contracts and recruit talent and figure out what talent are doing what and what their assignments are, Like, is that going to be a good step for me? Is that not a good step for me? So, I think it's ended up being awesome. It's been great. I absolutely love it. I'm 2 years in and I couldn't be happier for many different reasons. And I definitely made the right choice. But certainly it's one of those things when you're contemplating, it's not a career change, but it's definitely, I'm a producer at heart. I have a production background. When you're moving over to negotiations and strategy, it's different skill set that you don't necessarily have right when you join the new group. So it was bittersweet because I love my job, but in the end it was definitely the right move. So it really wasn't that risky because it was still at the same company, and I still, if I didn't like it, I probably could have gone back to my old job. But at the time, it was a big step because I've only had ever been in the radio department, and doing something different was something that I had to think about for a while.
Oh, that's so exciting though.
Yeah, it's very cool that you found something else that you like and are clearly very good at. So it's nice.
Yeah, we have fun. Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
So you pick the talent that is featured on a lot of the shows?
Yeah, so we have a team, I think it's about 6 or 7 of us, whose primary job it is to negotiate all of our talent contracts. We have about 700 talent. So, I mean, you're thinking of people from SportsCenter to First Take to radio to, baseball game talent to NFL game talent to college talent, all the talent on TV, digital talent. Some folks don't realize how many digital talent we have. So, yeah, we negotiate their contracts. We're partners with production to figure out who's doing what sports center anchors, for example, make sense in the right time slot. Hey, this person's really good. What opportunities can we get them? So kind of the strategy of what talent are doing. We also do a lot of recruiting. Who's out there? What holes do we have? What holes are we anticipating? Who should we bring in to talk to? And then we do a lot of development, like I mentioned, the Sports Center on Snapchat. We're launching new shows and these social shows, and what are specific talent that potentially might not be a sports center anchor, but could kill it in a platform like that. So we do a lot of development of shows and working with production with the talent as well.
Well, that's nice that it kind of goes hand in hand still, and you don't necessarily completely lose production.
Totally.
And you have a say now in a lot of the talent that is part of it, which is great because you already know what you're looking for.
Right. And that's so helpful, the production background. I think of the 7 of us, I think 4 of us come from production background, and you can just tell that the folks who have produced shows before and been in the trenches, what you can suggest, and what you can, what's not going to work even before you suggest it. So just having that knowledge in the background is very helpful.
Right. I'm sure. So we know you have some little ones at home. So yeah. I guess our question is, how are you able to find a work-life balance and manage everything at the same time?
Yeah, I cannot say how fortunate I am. I mean, even when I was in radio, I didn't have kids until after I was in a management position, and that wasn't purposeful. It wasn't like, I'm going to wait till I'm a manager to have kids. It was just the way life happens, right? And so I can't say how it would be different if, let's say, I was still producing a show that I was tied to a studio from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or whatever it is. That would be a different experience. But right now, and even when I was in charge of our daytime lineup in radio, my job was flexible enough that if I needed to come in late, or if I needed to go pick up early, or if, hey, my daughter's sick, or whatever I need to do, as long as I have my cell phone, I can really work from anywhere. And now that I'm in the talent office for the last 2 years, my flexibility is even more than the radio network. Radio is live production every day. You got a show Monday through Friday. It's not going away if your daughter's sick. With my job now, because I'm doing a lot of, it's not deadline oriented mainly. It's talking to agents, it's having internal production conversations, and those things. Sometimes I'm on with agents at 7 a.m. Sometimes I'm on with agents at 10 o'clock at night because they're on the West Coast. Sometimes I'm on with agents, in the middle of the day, whatever it is, and obviously answering emails and all that kind of stuff at any time of the day. So the flexibility that I'm able to have through my job has really allowed me to make the work-life balance thing be super easy. And I'm lucky that my husband has a job as well that is very flexible, and both of our companies and our employers know, like, our family comes first, and they're nothing but supportive to make sure that, hey, you should go to that field trip with your daughter, or hey, you should go pick her up early on the last day of school and go take her out for ice cream and celebrate. Those type of things. Just the family atmosphere is really important to us, and has been really such a blessing for us in raising our two kids, because my daughter's gonna be 7 next week, my son just turned 4, and they're getting older, and they're never gonna be little again. So as they say, it goes by quickly, and we're really learning that.
That's so nice. It's really great to hear that companies do that for people.
For sure.
Yeah.
We're lucky, very lucky.
So our last question is just, what's the biggest piece of advice that you would give to somebody starting out in the industry, or a woman trying to enter the field?
Yeah. My biggest piece of advice is just put it all out there, man. Like, try as hard as you can to show people that you belong. Yeah. Work harder than the other people that are at your level or the next level above. Show them you have ideas. Come to the table with something that has never been done before. Be the person that raises their hand when there is a particular task or a job that nobody else wants to do. But you know what? I'm going to do it because I'm going to show people that I'm a team player, and I'll do whatever it takes to, continue to grow. Find ways outside of your working hours to continue to develop and to learn about the industry. Read up on everything that's going on, and sports media and all the different business moves that are going on, so you can try to be as up to date and informed as possible on this crazy industry that we've all chosen to be a part of. But at the end of the day, I always tell people hard work trumps a lot. If you work hard, if you show people that you're passionate, if you show people that you just get it, I ultimately believe that will always win. So I can't stress enough, just the harder you work, and the more desire and passion you show, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
Well, that's great.
Sure. That's a great answer.
Yeah, no, it's great. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, no problem. I wish you guys a lot of success with the show and in your careers, and happy to help anytime.
Thank you. So wait, Amanda, are you based in Bristol?
Yes. Yep.
Do you know Russell Wolf?
Yes, I do. I don't think I've had a long conversation with him, but yes, I do know him. How do you know him?
He's my neighbor at home.
Oh, really? Nice. Yeah. He's a pretty high up at ESPN, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Yeah.
He's a good guy to know.
Yeah, for sure. Use those. I should have said that too. Use those connections, because you never know. Like, everybody knows somebody, and even though it's a really big industry, it's a really small industry.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. One person leads to the other, and crazy.
Yes, it really is.
Amanda, do you have an Instagram?
Yes, it is. I think it's Amanda Lockwood 6913.
Good to know.
Got it. All right. Just wanted to know so that we can tag you in the post, and we'll send you